Hello, YouTube. I was recently able to pick up a brand new iPhone 14 Pro Max. It is new open box, so I don't get to rip off the seals, unfortunately, but I will still unbox it and give my opinion on it and compare it to the iPhone 13 Pro Max. Now, a bunch of people told me that the iPhone 14 is basically the iPhone 13, and that is completely true for the regular model. If you compare the specs of the 13 and the 14, they are pretty much identical, except that the 14 no longer has a SIM tray and the battery is a minuscule amount larger. The only real difference is the colors that you can get them in, with the 14 colors being more pale and brighter. I like the 13's dark blue and green. However, unlike the 13 Pro Max and the 14 regular and plus, the 14 Pro Max does not have the camera notch and instead has what they call the dynamic island. But let's get this thing opened up. Wow. I feel like I should be wearing gloves or something. I got the 14 in space black, and if you've seen my 13 Pro Max video, that one was in graphite gray, which looks almost the same. I wish I still had that one to compare how close the colors are. Man, that is beautiful. There are no scratches. Well, there's fingerprints on it now, but there's no scuffs or dings. There's not even dust inside the switch, which, like, for some reason, these phones, like, as soon as you take them out of the box, they seem to collect dust on the silent switch there. Very beautiful. Now, let's do the screen cover peel away. All right. And the screen looks immaculate. No scratches or anything on that. This phone is, I mean, it's new open box. It's in perfect condition. You can see right up here at the top. Come on. There we go. The new dynamic island, when it's turned off, looks like an eye because of the selfie camera plus the hardware for the face unlock. Also in the box, we got the Lightning to USB-C cable, and then this little packet that tells us that we no longer need a physical SIM card. You activate your eSIM during iPhone setup, the paperwork, and of course, the Apple sticker. This is actually the first Apple sticker I've ever gotten because I bought all my other iPhones used, and so they didn't come with an Apple sticker. These phones both have a really fast boot up time. These phones are also practically the same size and they fit in the same case. The 14 Pro Max is a fifth of a millimeter or a hundredth of an inch thinner than the 13 Pro Max and 1/50th of an inch narrower. So that just means the size difference is not noticeable. Up against each other like this, you can't even tell the size difference. And they weigh the exact same. There are no major innovations with this phone, just a bunch of refinements. The A16 Bionic in the 14 Pro Max is about only 2 to 6% better as far as efficiency and performance than the A15 Bionic in the 13 Pro Max. The 14 Pro Max's battery is the tiniest bit smaller, while the speakers are a whisker louder. The screen is brighter in direct sunlight, and they added this always on display. So this is screen open, or yeah, and then this is always on. So it like just dims a little bit. So when I go like that, this is the screen unlocked, and then when I lock it, it goes back to what looks like the lock screen, but this is the always on display. So when your phone is sitting on your desk, you can always see your background and your clock just a little bit dimmer than if it was not. This is actually a lock screen. So the camera and flashlight button go away when the always on display is showing. Lock screen, always on display. Apple also added an optical image stabilizer on the selfie camera. Now, I don't know why. No other phone that I know of has that, and the wide angle lenses usually don't have those. Like this one on the back does not have OIS. The weird thing is that this is mentioned on the spec sheet, but never anywhere else. Apple doesn't even bother to mention this at the Far Out event where they revealed this phone. Like, try to find an advertisement or a review on YouTube or anywhere that says why you need this feature. I couldn't find anything online like this, and I'm hoping that some other tech nerd like myself will be able to tell me why this is a thing. Speaking of cameras, the 13 has a 12 megapixel main sensor, while the 14 has a 48 megapixel main sensor that takes 12 megapixel photos using pixel binning technology to collect more light, a technique that Android has had since 2017. This allows the main sensor to have an effectiveness of a 2x zoom or much better low light photos at the 1x zoom. Another feature that was added for the iPhone 14 Pro and Pro Max only is the dynamic island, which allows you to see a snippet or a widget of any app that you're using in the background, gives you updates and directions from that app, and easily switches between any apps that are running in the background. Like if you're listening to music, have maps navigation guiding you somewhere, and receive a phone call, you can see information on all three apps. The last big feature that Apple added on the 14s is emergency SOS through satellite. If you are out in the middle of nowhere with no cell coverage, you can connect to a satellite and send a super low bandwidth text message to emergency responders. And this is a really cool feature if you get in a car accident somewhere with no cell reception, or if you're out hiking in the woods and get injured. However, there are already a bunch of videos on YouTube that address this feature, so I'm not going to go into more detail. Even almost 2 years later, this phone is still over $1,000 new for 128 gigabytes of storage, or on Amazon, but with 256 gigabytes of storage as renewed premium, which is their fancy way of saying used but in excellent condition. The sad thing is, Apple is going to make this model obsolete in September with the release of the iPhone 16 and iOS 18 because this $1,000 premium flagship phone will not be able to run AI like all of the other companies' flagship phones. Which means that if you want all the fancy features like email writing tools, proofreading, page summaries, text message review, outlined voice memos, custom emojis, image playground, personalized images, sketch to image, natural language understanding, memory movie, and more, then you will have to get a 15 Pro or Pro Max or a 16. So, is it worth it in 2024? Because this is a channel focused on saving you money, no. The iPhone 14 Pro Max is too expensive. If you're going to be spending $1,000 on a phone in 2024, then you might as well get the newest one. This might be the last video I shoot on the Motorola Edge 2022, as I would like to upgrade to a better camera. So if that is the case, then I will have to change my outro video.